Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unfinished Cubby podcast. With me today is Stephanie Piper, who is a maker and a 3D modeler. That's kind of the
3D
introduction.
printer of things.
3D printer of things. Yeah, Stephanie, can you, thanks for coming along this morning. Can you tell us all a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Wonderful to be here. My day job is I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at the University of Southern Queensland. So I'm based out in Toowoomba, and my job in a nutshell is to run the library makerspace. So it's a spot where students can come on in, have a go at doing some hands-on making with some of our 3D printers, electronics gear. We got a 3D scanner as well, sewing machine, crafting stuff. And so they can put together something that, might be a bit of a passion project or a bit of something fun to muck around with. And they can start to build up like a physical portfolio of things. So it's a pretty cool spot. But otherwise, outside of my job, I'm also the technical co-founder of Elkei Education, which is like a little company making electronics kits for young girls. So we've got some soldering kits and that kind of thing. I designed my own circuit boards for those, and I'm starting to get really excited about the wearable technology space in that area. Some people also may know me from my latest project, which is called the Party Button.
So that on a yeah. How did that come about?
Oh yeah, dude. So this project is one that started out pretty small. So someone, came in one day and said, "Steph, I've got a real walking man traffic light here. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Of course I want it, dude." And so I was like, "Yeah, I need to do something special with this." And so I tore out all the old green LEDs and I replaced them with rainbow color cycling LEDs.
Nice.
And I got really carried away. And I ended up buying a real traffic light button from AliExpress, $100, and rigged it up so that when you push the button, it would play Darude Sandstorm and the light would come on. So it was just a bit silly. And it was a bit of a cool example project of what's possible with Arduino. So that's like a type of electronics platform that you can write your own code and, build your own little inventions with it. And so with that, someone flicked me the link to Curiosity Art Exhibition, which is like, a big interactive art exhibition that happens every year in Brisbane. And I decided to apply for it with the Party Button as a prototype. And I said, look, how about you give me some money and I'll make a real decent version of this that's suitable for outdoor display with a full welded metal stainless steel chassis and a few more features than the one that's currently mounted on a PVC pipe and a swivel chair base. And anyway, it was an absolute wild adventure to make this thing. It ended up being 2 meters tall and weighing about 400 kilos because they wouldn't let us bolt it down. We had to sort out our own weights for it. And yeah, I sort of felt a bit out of my depth for quite a lot of the project, but we managed to pull through all right.
Awesome.
And oh my gosh.
I've seen it on the video. It looks super funky. You're with that. Where is that now? Where's it parked?
It's in my garage.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool.
So I get to hire it out now. I got to keep it. So I'm pretty excited about bringing it around and having it maybe at different festivals, maybe Mardi Gras, Vivid Sydney, those kinds of places that might benefit from a giant party button.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So and that's I was going to say that's a bit different to your core kind of thing, but no, you definitely like tinkering with Arduinos and circuits and that kind of thing, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, the project had quite a few dramas along the way as well. So only a week before it was meant to go on display, the engineers got back to me and said, "Oh yeah, you'll need to put an extra 350 kilos in the base of this to weigh it down." And I was like, "Oh gosh, where am I going to get this much weight to fit in this tiny space?"
Yeah.
Like, am I going to have to go down to the defense base and grab some spent uranium, which is the big weights they use in helicopters? Am I going to have to break into the science department and grab some tungsten cubes? Like, how is this going to work? And yeah, lucky for me, the metal worker came through and said, "Oh yeah, I'll just cut up some 20 mil thick stainless steel plate and stack it up in the base."
Yeah, right.
And he did that the weekend before, and we were still able to put it on display.
Nice, cool.
Oh gosh.
Sounds fun. Sounds like an adventure, like you said. And what are the kits that you do for girls? The circuits.
What are those?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
they make, or what do they get to make?
Yeah, so they're a little soldering kit. So there's a few different varieties that I've made up. Um, one of them's like, there's a couple that are like little badges where you get to solder on a battery holder and a switch and a couple of LEDs, and you make something that you can wear. And what's
Hmm.
special about these soldering kits is that they actually have a few different colors on them. So normally when you think of circuit boards and making things, like it's just like it's boring green circuit boards all the way. That's what you think of. But they can be quite creative with the process and the colors if you ask them nicely, which is
Okay.
nice. So I traveled to China
Yeah, right.
in August 2019 with my business partner, which is a bit terrifying to think about now because we nearly scheduled it in for November when the Maker Faire was meant to happen. So yeah, glad we didn't end up doing that.
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously, got
yeah.
out
A
in the
whole
nick
different
of time.
adventure. Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
felt like, oh lord, yeah. And we managed to find a factory over there that would do a couple of different colors for us. So it really brings a unique aesthetic that you don't find anywhere else in the realm of learning to solder and learning electronics.
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure. Cool. And yeah, that what you like that trip was just simply you wanted to make that connection. Were you already dealing with them and or
I think we'd reached out like previously, but we wanted to go over there and have a bit of a look. And we'd also, like, at that point in time, we were trying to launch a Kickstarter campaign, which, long story short, um, we didn't raise enough money. And I'm sort of glad that we didn't because I don't think we were quite ready. There's
okay,
a lot of learnings that have gone into the where we currently are
right.
now and where we're going.
Is that also some kind of wearable kit? Um, a
it
Kickstarter?
was it was going to be like a more retail ready type kit,
I
but in
see.
terms of like we didn't have the experience in making or scaling things properly, and sort of working closely with the manufacturer at that point.
Hmm. Hmm.
We were sort of still starting out and still really finding our feet
Yeah, for
with
sure.
how it all works. mm.
How do you feel now? Is it something that you will revisit with a bit
Oh
of
yeah,
experience under
like
your belt now?
yeah, definitely. Like I feel like yeah, we still have a lot more to learn, like especially around um, like how to sort of really like make the most out of like scaling properly. Like at the moment, some of our kits we sit down and assemble ourselves because the shipping cost now is too expensive. Like doing a hardware startup is a whole other ball game
Mm.
because the physical product means you have to physically manage where it goes and what it does, and it's not
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
simple download. Um, so yeah, trying to figure out like the best way to like actually scale the product, and whether like we end up like I really would like to do all Australian, but some of it's just physically not possible with like there isn't a circuit board manufacturer in Australia. I think there's only one place that does it, and they only do defence application.
yeah. Right.
There's
Wow.
one place in New Zealand, but they'll be charging 4 times as much as our current
Yeah,
supplier.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, whether we like, I feel like it would make more sense to get the packaging made in Australia because
yeah,
it's the heaviest thing, right? In an electronics kit. Um,
yeah.
and yeah,
Right.
figuring out how we assemble that, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's like it's a lot of things to think about.
totally. Yeah. And
Mm.
my wife and I mentioned earlier, that's how you and I first got connected. Is we actually did a Kickstarter where we also did not raise everything for it. My wife makes toys, little
Oh,
dolls, creatures, yeah. And so we had this Kickstarter around these Fuzzle Puffs, and you did a 3D print of the feet because she has always hand sculpted them, and so we're looking at
yeah,
mass
they look great.
production. Yeah, yeah, thanks. But yeah, we really, I remember that like what a big component shipping is, and like there's all kinds of bizarre because some like there's certain things with coming in from China where you don't necessarily pay a whole lot of shipping. There's like a favorable kind of trade deal to
Mm,
encourage exports from there, and then it's so expensive in Australia. It's
especially with COVID now as well. Like with not as many flights going in and out, it means that anything through DHL or any of your more reliable shippers is more expensive than it would normally be.
yeah, right.
Mm.
Wow, I didn't realize that. But yeah, no, that's a definitely a tricky one with a physical
Mm.
product. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's tough. But yeah, I think like where we're sort of heading anyway is like I'm really excited about the wearable tech space, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
So like the soldering kits are great, and I really love how they've turned out. But of course, not everyone has a soldering iron at home, or is willing to have a hot pen available to muck
Mm.
around with in the house,
For
which is
sure.
fair enough. Yeah, so like I'm really really keen to have a crack at doing more things that involve like your conductive thread and sewing things to make something that you can wear and it lights up or does something special.
But you so
And
bored.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
on my blog anyway. I've got some prototypes that I've showcased that are machine sewable as well,
Yeah, right,
which are
okay.
pretty exciting. So currently, like the standard in industry for like doing maker wearable technology stuff is hand stitching with like the big
A big
LED things
plastic
that
thing.
have like the big sewable tabs on them, like
Yeah,
the lily
yeah,
pad range.
yeah.
And yeah, teaching a class or like even with adults, not just kids, is a real adventure because you soon figure out whether someone has learnt sewing
Yeah, for sure.
previously,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it can be quite frustrating trying to learn sewing and circuits at the same time. And you really want to cut out any frustration that you can
Yeah.
in the learning experience. And so, making something that's machine sewable means that it's a bit more accessible to professionals as well as just like the hobbyist who wants to make something quick and know that it's going to work.
And
Yeah.
what level of creativity does someone have with these kits? Like, what can they do?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that these sewable ones you can just use for anything you would like. So if you want to like chuck on some lights onto the end of your skirt or something, and then head out to a festival and light up the night, or whether you just want to put it on a bag so that you can find someone in a crowd, or whether you want to chuck them on a hat,
All right.
all that kind of stuff. You
And
should be able
and
to do.
and various kind of sequencing of how they flash and turn on and that kind of thing. And is that all kind of
No.
preset by you, or
Yeah,
what's?
yeah.
Yeah.
So the LEDs have the sequence programmed in them already.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
there's
Okay.
no coding involved, no microcontrollers, just
Yep.
pure LEDs that you connect to a power source.
Okay.
So
Cool.
we
Cool.
really want to make it easy. And a lot of the coding and Arduino stuff, I think, while it's great to have that level of control, it's certainly not where a beginner is at in
Sure.
terms of
Yeah.
like just understanding how a circuit works in general.
Yeah. So it's more of a funky fashion than a learn
Fashion.
to than a
Yes.
make a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Cool.
love that.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, how long did you? Is it Toowoomba? Is that where you said that you are at the
Yeah.
university? Yeah. How long have you been there? Is that your base?
Oh, yeah. So I've been working here for 4 years. I
Okay.
originally
Yeah.
studied here as well.
I
And at
see.
the moment, it is very cold.
Yeah. I bet.
So, yeah, today, walking home, felt like I was getting a brain freeze just being outside. Like,
Yeah. 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 No,
yeah,
I can
it,
imagine.
it's a good spot, though.
Cool. Yeah. And sounds like a bit of a dream job for you too.
Mm,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being able to, muck around all day with students on interesting projects is, yeah, it's not where I expected to go, but yeah, absolutely love it. I originally studied Bachelor of Science, did my honours year in vaccine development, and did a
Wow.
year of a PhD in 3D printing body part space type stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and ended up becoming president down at Brisbane Hackerspace, which is
Okay.
like a big anarchy makerspace run by
Uh-huh.
the community in Brisbane. Open 24 hours a day, and you can rock up and use, 3D printing, electronics, woodworking, metalworking, welding, blacksmithing, automotive, whole range of gear.
Is that attached to the library there, the National Library?
That's the Edge you're thinking of.
It is the edge I'm thinking of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Brisbane Hackerspace is like a community-run one,
Okay. Cool.
and yeah, I sort of got really involved down there and loved it. And then when I heard that my old little uni that I studied at was putting together a little library makerspace, I made sure to travel up and sit the ladies down and tell them how to do their job. And then they sent me the job ad. And yeah, I was very lucky to be in the right place at the right time, I think,
Yeah.
with
No,
those kinds of opportunities.
that's fantastic. It
Mm,
always makes me feel happy when I see people who are following their passion 100% and actually have a day job that is completely in there as well. I think
mm,
that's a kind of a rare thing, and it's
yeah.
Yeah, wonderful thing. Yeah.
I never expected to have this level of creativity like in a job this early on in my career, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting new jobs out there, I think, that people can sort of build around what they're interested in,
I
which
think
is
that's a
pretty
good
cool.
point. It's
Mm,
totally a new time. There's
mm.
and also it's so much easier than ever before for people to create their own businesses and their own jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Um, cool. And so, how do you kind of split your week between the work you're doing there at the university and the work on your own business? And what else do you do this
Uh,
week? Yeah.
Poorly. So, like, I
Yeah.
sort of don't really have that much work-life balance, to be honest. Like, I feel like I'm just go 100% of the time, which sort of looking at it is probably maybe not as healthy, but I don't know. I just feel like I have so much energy all the time to pour into this stuff. And
Yep.
yeah, I'm always really excited about working on new things, and it sort of never gets old because, like, with the 3D printer, of course, it's not about the technology, it's about what you're doing, what you're making with it. And there's always different things to be making, and different ways you can evolve your skills and teach others and build cool things. And yeah, like I've started to, I suppose, take a bit of a backseat, and I've started to socially catch up with some buddies and play some games in the evenings.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
been
Yep.
nice.
Yep.
Um,
Computer games.
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Nice. Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I'm sort of a bit of a maniac, and I think personally I need to start saying no to
Sure.
projects and being a bit more realistic about self-care.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
there's something though. I think like people who are entrepreneurs and people who are techies, that kind of just being stuck in it and just being going all night because you want to see a problem through and
Oh
you're
yeah.
loving it. And yeah,
Yeah.
they do go
That's me,
together.
100%.
Yeah,
Can't go to
yeah,
sleep if I've got a cool idea that I've latched on and I'm like, got to think about all the threads of this,
yeah.
fully
Cool.
explore it.
Yeah,
Sitting in
yeah.
bed with the notepad being like, different ideas.
Yeah, nice. And do you plan stuff out on paper first? Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
love my notebook. Got all my technical diagrams in there. I'm preparing to run a couple of 2-day workshops over the school holidays for some school students, and I'll be teaching them about my journaling process with that.
Yeah,
So
okay,
they'll all
cool.
get their own little journal to take home.
Sweet. Can you tell me anything about that now?
Oh yeah. So like I really like the idea of some of the design thinking processes that Sophie Wong talks about. So she did
Okay.
a great video where she shows herself doing a journal that has like a dozen boxes on it. And so, for example, if you want to think about like a few different ways of doing a project, it's better if you don't latch on your first idea and you fully explore the possibilities of how it could go. So, for example, with your Kickstarter project, all the little creatures, you could be sketching in a dozen different looking creatures, and then go and refine your ideas from there rather than just thinking, oh, yes, that's the first thing I'll do, uh,
Sure.
you know, and latching
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the techniques I'm keen to teach the kids.
Cool.
But yeah, you really need to have some kind of a thing where you write things down, because once you start 3D printing things out and writing measurements and scaling things as well, I always forget the numbers. Like I need to write them down somewhere. Otherwise I'll
Sure.
come back to a project and be like, what have I done?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And so that's kind of like that's a mind map of what's possible and what you might do. And then presumably you kind of layer onto that the practical considerations of what you're wanting to achieve.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And especially when you're chatting to people and meeting people all the time, you've got to write down, like there's always so many great leads you get from speaking to different people about the problems you have and the ideas. And yeah, you gotta stay on top of it.
Yeah. Cool. What else because we messaged on LinkedIn, what else were we going to talk about? I said, what's a perfect day for you?
What's a perfect day?
Yeah.
I sleep in until 10 a.m.
Haven't
I've
gone
won
to
the
bed at 2
lottery.
a.m.
Bill Gates has landed in a helicopter on my driveway, and he says, "Here's $1 billion Bitcoin. Go and build a giant makerspace." Okay, sort of
Yeah.
outside of the more less ridiculous space. Yeah, I feel like a perfect day for me is probably when I feel like I've gotten a lot of things done. Yeah, I feel like being productive and having a positive impact on people, like that sort of combination of things, is probably my perfect day type material.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. You feel good when you're achieving
Mm,
and teaching as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And do
So
you
yeah.
at the university there? Do you have a bit of a what's your makerspace like? How is there a large group of students that you've got that are into it, or do you wish that there was more?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky balance. At the moment, we've got a bit of a smaller space because the building that I'm in is undergoing some big renovations. So we've had to move locations out of the way of the construction. And yeah, especially with COVID as well. Pre-COVID, the makerspace was full. Like during peak hours, like you just couldn't fit anyone else in there. And yeah, we still get quite a few regulars come by the space, which means I get to like spend some good time making sure that people are starting to refine some of the more advanced skills
Hmm.
around 3D printing projects and all that kind of stuff.
And do people have like long-term projects that they're kind of working on there, come in each day or a couple of times a week and move that
Yeah,
forward? Yeah.
if they're doing like a postgrad, PhD or honors, they tend to do that. But generally, the types of projects that I see people doing are a bit of fun, a bit of something that's a bit, not necessarily part of their studies. And I really encourage that level of play. If you just want to
Hmm.
come in and print Baby Yoda, oh, I love it. Like
Totally.
you really got
Yeah.
to have that level of play and fun to properly enjoy something, and then you can start to think about more serious things now that you've understand what's involved, you understand the workflow
Hmm.
around how to build that particular thing. Yeah, that's when you're going to start to really succeed and start really seeing some decent portfolio projects that you could show a
Yeah.
potential employer, turn into some kind of a hardware startup. So yeah, you really need to have a sandbox space before you have, the building of things.
For sure.
Mm.
On that, something else I was going to ask you about is like you are starting to appear in the media a bit with the funky traffic light
Oh
and various
yeah.
other projects. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How's that feel?
Oh, it's terrible. Uh, so I recently edited together a show reel that you probably saw
I
on
saw it.
LinkedIn.
That's what prompted
Yeah,
me to reach out to you again now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's a montage of every time I've made it into the local news over probably the last 3 years or so. And honestly, I started trying to edit it myself, and I just hated watching myself that much. And I was like, no, I'm just going to pay someone to do this on Fiverr.
Oh, yeah, right. Cool.
I was like,
Good
oh,
choice. That's a great
just
montage.
cringing too hard at
Oh,
it's
really?
me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that doesn't like to sort of watch themselves as much.
Sure.
But yeah,
Yeah.
he's done a fantastic job of it, and I asked him
Mm.
to put in the ABC News remix by Pendulum, and yeah, it's really just made it absolute fire, which is pretty great.
ABC News remix by Pendulum. What is that? That's
That's
a.
the track that's in the start of it.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Okay, cool.
yeah, it plays off the news theme that's going on.
Yeah, okay, of course. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool. All right. Look, and I'll get you. Please send me through if you would the links of that and your website and anything like that, and I'll ensure I'll make sure I've got those links.
yeah, yeah. The video's up on my website now. So yeah,
Is that Piper? What's your
yep. So it's
Piper3D.com?
piper3dp.com,
3dp.com. Yeah,
and the electronics
that's right.
company as well is Elkei Education, which is elkei.com.au. It's some alternative spelling as well, so it's Elkei. Just chuck those in the chat for you.
All right, awesome. Sweet. Look, see. Yeah, I think I think that's, is there anything else that you would like to add and share to budding makers or anyone?
Yeah, if any of you would like to come by and have a bit of a look and have a chat at the Toowoomba Makerspace, if you ever find yourself in the area, feel free to pop in and have a chat. Send me an email first if you like. And yeah, you're welcome to come by and have a look and have a chat about any projects that you might be doing and might need some advice on. Very happy to help out. And yeah, always love new makers and people who are, having a go in that space. We love to see it.
Awesome. Hey, Stephanie, thank you so much for having a chat with me today.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure, and I'll send this through to you when it's up.
Too easy.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. There we go. Cool. Hey, thanks for meeting with me.
No worries. Happy to chat.
Cool. I did. So I started this podcast sort of this year, and you very early on have been on my list of people to reach out to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. And to be honest, I'm not exactly sure why. Like I had to go back now because we were introduced by Darcy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a 3D print of a fuzzle puff foot.
That project. Yeah, that was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was, a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Small world, hey.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because I feel like I'm aware of you. Do you do some STEM stuff as well for girls?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, you do like workshops. Yeah, so I haven't actually. I've got 3 girls, and I haven't actually brought them along, but it's been my intention to. That's kind of why you're.
Oh, what ages are they?
So 12, 8, and 5.
Oh, bless.
Yeah,
that's lovely.
So should we just go ahead and start?
Might as well.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I'll do an introduction, and then we'll just see where we go.
Yeah, cool.
Easy as. Cool. Okay. So I actually haven't done an episode in a couple of weeks.
You're doing well.
Yeah, thanks. It goes like this.